Welcome to Angelic Encounters, stories of hope and healing. Thank you for joining us today. In this episode, we have 3 inspiring stories. We hope these stories uplift your spirit and remind you of the power of faith and the presence of angels in our lives. In the bustling city of Dallas, where dreams and realities collide, one homeless man's journey from despair to redemption unfolds. This is the story of his struggle, his faith, and the divine intervention that rekindled his hope.
The city streets of Dallas, bustling with life and opportunity, held a stark contrast for those like me who had fallen through the cracks. Once a successful architect, I now roamed these streets, my dreams shattered and my future uncertain. My home was a small, sheltered corner under an overpass, where the distant hum of traffic was my constant companion. Every day was a struggle to survive. The whispers of the wind carried the dreams of those who walked past me, unaware of the silent battles fought by those without a place to call home. I scavenged for food, sought refuge from the elements, and tried to avoid the dangers that came with life on the streets. One particularly cold and rainy night, I found myself huddled under a thin blanket, my body shivering and my spirit at its lowest. The rain poured relentlessly, drenching everything in its path. My thoughts turned bleak as I questioned whether I had the strength to continue this endless fight for survival. As I drifted into a restless sleep, a soft, warm light began to fill the dark space around me. I opened my eyes to see a figure standing before me, radiating a gentle glow. The figure was an angel, with a serene expression and a presence that brought an immediate sense of calm. "Do not be afraid," the angel's voice was soothing, cutting through the noise of the rain. "I am here to offer you hope." I stared in awe, my voice caught in my throat. The angel's eyes seemed to see into the depths of my soul, understanding the pain and despair I felt. "You have endured much hardship," the angel continued, "but know that even in the midst of your struggles, there is always hope." Tears welled in my eyes as the angel spoke, the warmth of their words reaching the coldest parts of my heart. "You were once a builder, a creator of homes and dreams," the angel said. "That talent still resides within you. It is time to rebuild your own life, to find a new path." A surge of determination filled me as I listened. "But how?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "I have nothing left." "You have your faith, your resilience, and your spirit," the angel replied. "God has not abandoned you. You will find guidance and opportunities if you open your heart and mind." With those words, the angel extended a hand towards me. As their light enveloped me, I felt a renewed sense of purpose and strength. The angel's presence faded, but their words lingered, a beacon of hope in the darkness. In the days that followed, I began to see the world with new eyes. I sought out resources and shelters, finding solace in the warm meals and kind words offered by volunteers. Through these connections, I discovered a local organization dedicated to helping the homeless regain stability. They provided me with temporary housing, job training, and most importantly, a sense of community. With a newfound determination, I applied for jobs, leveraging my past experience as an architect. It wasn't easy. Many doors were closed, and rejection was a constant companion. But I remembered the angel's words, and I persevered. Finally, I was hired by a small construction firm, willing to give me a second chance. The work was challenging, but it reignited the passion I had once felt for building and creating. Each day, I poured my heart into my work, slowly rebuilding not just structures, but my own life. I saved money, started to reconnect with estranged family members, and found support in a group of fellow recovering homeless individuals. Together, we shared our stories, our struggles, and our victories, lifting each other up in times of need. As I looked around my new, modest apartment, a far cry from the grand homes I once designed, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. The angel's message had given me the strength to believe in myself again. I was no longer defined by my past failures, but by my resilience and determination to create a better future. The angel's words had rekindled my hope, and with it, the belief that even in the darkest times, there is always light. In giving back to the community, I found a deeper purpose. I volunteered at shelters, sharing my story and helping others find their own path to recovery. Through these acts of service, I discovered the true power of faith and the presence of God in our lives. My faith deepened with each person I helped, and I felt the presence of the angel guiding my steps. As I stood one Sunday morning, the sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows, I felt a profound sense of peace. In that radiant light, I caught just a glimpse of the same angel, smiling down at me with a look of infinite compassion and reassurance. The journey from despair to hope had not been easy, but it had strengthened my faith and deepened my understanding of God's love. The once broken man who had roamed the streets of Dallas had found redemption, not just through his own efforts, but through the divine grace that had guided him. The angel's words had rekindled my hope, and with it, the belief that even in the darkest times, there is always light. And so, with a heart full of faith and a spirit strengthened by the angel's visit, I continued my journey, knowing that I was never truly alone.
In the quiet corners of our world, unseen forces often stir. A devastating tsunami brought waves of destruction, leaving communities in ruin and hearts in despair. Amidst this chaos, stories of resilience and hope emerged. This is one such story, of a dedicated nurse, tirelessly tending to the wounded, and an angelic presence, bringing a touch of divine comfort. Join us as we witness a moment where human compassion meets heavenly grace.
My name is Siti, and I am a nurse at the Palu Medical Center in Indonesia. Life in our coastal town had always been closely tied to the sea, and the tranquil waves that once brought prosperity and joy turned into a force of unimaginable destruction on September 28, 2018, when a massive tsunami struck. Our town, bustling with activity, was transformed into a scene of chaos and despair. The tsunami, triggered by a magnitude 7.5 earthquake, brought waves up to 35 feet high, devastating everything in their path. The aftermath was catastrophic, with approximately 4,340 lives lost and countless others injured or displaced. Amidst the devastation, our hospital became a haven for those injured and seeking shelter. From the moment the disaster struck, I found myself working tirelessly, overwhelmed by the sheer number of patients and the scale of destruction. I saw families torn apart, homes reduced to rubble, and lives hanging by a thread. The hospital was overwhelmed. We set up makeshift wards in every available space, and resources were running thin. My shift had started like any other, but the weight of my responsibilities felt heavier that day. I moved from patient to patient, offering care and comfort, but inside, I felt my hope dwindling. One evening, as I took a rare moment of respite, I found a quiet corner in the hospital. I closed my eyes, trying to block out the sounds of pain and suffering around me. In that moment of silent despair, something extraordinary happened. A soft, warm light began to fill the room. I opened my eyes to find an ethereal figure standing before me. The figure was radiant, its light bathing the room in a comforting glow. I blinked, thinking I was hallucinating from exhaustion, but the figure remained, its presence undeniable. "Siti," the figure spoke, its voice gentle yet powerful. "Do not lose hope." Tears welled up in my eyes. "Who are you?" I whispered, my voice trembling. "I am your guardian," the figure replied, "sent to guide you through these dark times." I felt a warmth spread through me, a feeling of peace I hadn't experienced since the tsunami struck. The angel's presence was a balm to my weary soul. Over the next few weeks, I found myself renewed with a sense of purpose. The angel would appear in moments of quiet, offering words of encouragement and guidance. I began to see small miracles unfold in the hospital. Patients who had been on the brink of death started to recover. Supplies that were thought to be depleted would appear just when they were needed most. The morale of the staff began to lift, as if an unseen force was giving them strength. I shared my experiences with a few trusted colleagues, who were skeptical at first, but as the miraculous events continued, they couldn't deny that something extraordinary was happening. The hospital, once a place of despair, became a beacon of hope. One day, as I was working in the makeshift ICU, I noticed a young girl named Maya, who had been pulled from the wreckage and was in critical condition. Her condition had deteriorated rapidly, and the doctors were losing hope. Guided by the angel's presence, I sat by Maya's bedside, holding her hand and whispering words of comfort. The angel appeared beside me, placing a gentle hand on Maya's forehead. The girl's breathing steadied, and a soft glow seemed to emanate from her. Over the next few days, Maya's condition improved dramatically. The doctors were amazed, calling it a medical miracle, but I knew it was something more. Word of the miracles at Palu Medical Center spread throughout the town, bringing hope to a community in desperate need of it. People began to gather outside the hospital, lighting candles and praying for their loved ones. The hospital's staff, inspired by the angel's presence, continued to fight with renewed vigor. Amid the recovery efforts, I found solace in small moments of connection with patients and their families. The shared stories of loss and survival created a bond that transcended the pain we all felt. Every smile, every word of gratitude, became a reminder of the resilience and strength within us all. One particular evening, as I was reflecting on the day's events, the angel appeared once more. "Remember, City, you are never alone," the angel said. "Your compassion and strength are the light that guides others." My journey was far from over, but I no longer felt alone. The angel's guidance had shown me that even in the darkest times, there is always a light to guide us. I realized that the strength I needed was within me all along, bolstered by faith and the support of those around me. As the recovery efforts continued, I remained dedicated to my work, my spirit unbroken. The angel's visits became less frequent, but the lessons and hope it brought remained with me. I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, I was never truly alone.
In the heart of New Jersey, where fire rages and heroes are made, one fateful night brought together bravery and the divine. Meet Jack, a seasoned firefighter, battling an inferno that threatened to consume much more than just a warehouse.
I remember it like it was yesterday. The night the massive warehouse off the expressway in New Jersey went up in flames. It was a colossal structure, sprawling over 1 million square feet, a giant hub for goods and logistics. The alarm had sounded, and we were dispatched immediately, knowing that lives were on the line. When we arrived, we quickly learned that 4 people were still trapped inside. That's when the decision was made to send in our rescue unit. Time was critical, and every second counted. As we worked our way through the labyrinth of fire and debris, we managed to find and assist several people. The air was thick with smoke, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. Every breath burned, the heat was unbearable, and the sound of the roaring flames was deafening. It was then that I heard a faint cry, someone calling out for help. I knew I wasn't supposed to go alone, but my teammates were already occupied helping those we had just found. Driven by an instinct I couldn't ignore, I signaled to my team and ventured deeper into the warehouse by myself. Navigating through the warehouse, I could see the scale of destruction was immense. Shelves full of goods had been toppled, and the floor was littered with debris. The fire had turned the once organized space into a nightmarish maze. The cries grew louder, and I quickened my pace, determined to reach the source. Suddenly, deeper in the warehouse, some flammable tanks exploded. The blast was powerful, breaking a beam and causing the roof to collapse. The explosion was like a thunderclap, shaking the ground beneath me. I was pinned under a pile of debris. Pain shot through my leg, and I struggled to free myself, but it was no use. I was trapped and alone. I lay there, gasping for air, trying to stay conscious. The darkness around me was pierced only by the flickering flames. That's when I saw it, a radiant, glowing figure standing above me. An angelic presence, serene and comforting. The angel placed a hand on my shoulder, and though my wounds remained, a wave of calm and strength washed over me. "Jack," the angel said, "think of your wife, your children, and all those who love you. They are waiting for you. You have the strength within you to make it back to them." Those words ignited a spark within me. Summoning every ounce of strength I had left, I began to push against the debris. Inch by inch, I managed to free myself. The angel, glowing ever brighter, guided me through the collapsing building. Step by painful step, I followed, driven by the thoughts of those I loved. Every movement was agonizing, but the angel's presence gave me the courage to keep going. As I moved through the wreckage, I thought about my family, my wife's smile, my children's laughter. These thoughts fueled my determination. The angel never left my side, its glow illuminating the way through the smoke and fire. As I struggled forward, I encountered more obstacles, fallen beams, collapsing walls, and the ever-present threat of the fire. The angel's guidance was unwavering, helping me find the safest path through the chaos. There were moments when I doubted I could go on, but each time, the angel's calm, reassuring presence renewed my resolve. Finally, I stumbled out of the wreckage and collapsed into the arms of my teammates who had been searching for me. Their faces were a mix of relief and astonishment. It was then that I learned the explosion had ripped open the back part of the warehouse, allowing the person I was trying to save to find a way out through the newly created opening. The angelic figure had vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared, but the sense of peace and gratitude it left behind remained with me. In the hospital, I recounted my miraculous experience to my wife. She listened, her face a mix of concern and disbelief. She chalked it up to stress or trauma. But as she prepared to leave my room, she paused, feeling a faint, comforting presence. She glanced back at me, her skepticism wavering for just a moment. As I lay in that hospital bed, reflecting on everything that had happened, I knew I had been saved for a reason. The experience had changed me, deepening my faith and filling me with a renewed sense of love for God. I was convinced that I had been watched over by a guardian angel in my darkest hour, and I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the divine intervention that had spared my life. The days following my recovery were filled with reflection and newfound gratitude. I visited the families of those we had rescued, sharing their relief and joy. Each encounter reinforced the importance of our work and the thin line between life and death. My colleagues, too, were touched by the story, seeing it as a testament to hope and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. In the end, the fire at the warehouse was extinguished, and the building's charred remains stood as a stark reminder of that night. For me, it was more than just a memory of a rescue mission gone right. It was a profound personal experience that reaffirmed my belief in the unseen forces that guide us. My faith was no longer a quiet part of my life. It became a source of strength and inspiration, driving me to live each day with purpose and gratitude, and to honor God for His unwavering love and protection.
Thank you for listening to these heartfelt stories. I hope they inspire you to recognize the true power of faith and the presence of angels in our times of need. If these stories touched you, please like and subscribe for more uplifting content. Stay blessed and see you next time.